Hi AP students, this video is for you if you're going to rewrite your Aravaipa Canyon timed writing. Again, sorry we didn't get to it in class. This is for students who met with me on Google Meets and needed just a little bit more guidance on maybe some last minute things to do to really solidify a good solid rewrite opportunity, and also for students who didn't have a chance to get on Google Hangouts on Monday. And after you go through this, you might be like, oh, okay, it's a lot easier. I feel a lot more confident rewriting it, even though I couldn't meet on Monday. Okay, so I will post this PowerPoint on Schoology as well for your reference. Here's some great things that you guys did as a group, as a cohort. Really embedding your evidence smoothly and using short quotes to do that. You can really pack your essay with a lot of evidence if you're using short quotes and not having to spend time recording and rewriting or retyping quotes that are super long. It actually is just quite a waste of time. So really short quotes embedded into your sentences was great. And really using every last second to write. That shows me that you care about this process and that you are trying to, as fast as you can, get out what you want to. And that is just respectful, and it just shows me that you really care. So thank you. I noticed that a lot of you took a lot of time reading the piece and really trying to eke out some rhetorical strategies that you could talk about in your writing. So good job for actually committing pen to paper and taking notes as you read. Some of you wrote on your feedback sheet that it took you too long to read, and I would just say that this process gets a lot faster once you get more used to it. So no hard feelings. I would rather you spend time annotating the text and really trying to identify rhetorical strategies rather than rushing to the writing and then not knowing what to say. Or not saying it effectively because you didn't spend enough time annotating and reading. Okay, and then most of you got the purpose of the text or the attitude or knew the task, which was to convey what Edward Abbey's attitude towards nature was. So good job there. Okay, it's our first time writing, so there's more improvements than there are goods. But a lot of you who didn't do so well just kind of forgot what your task was, and you tried to do too much, perhaps with trying to communicate purpose rather than focusing on what the prompt asks you, which is what is his attitude towards nature, what's his tone basically, and what strategies demonstrate it. You also have to put the idea of strategies into your thesis statement. So I have that right here. Your introductions have to acknowledge the rhetorical strategies, otherwise your thesis is not going to probably score the point. You can either list out the major ones, or you can just say the rhetorical strategies, or a variety of strategies, or many devices, however it comes out, but that does have to be acknowledged in there. Taking risks, I want to encourage you to take risks since you can always revise for me. Most of you focused on the first part of the text. It was the most commonly chosen because it was perhaps the shortest section when you were thinking about how the text would naturally be divided into body paragraphs. But that would have fallen a little flat for you unless you discussed in your body paragraph the bigger purpose that this anecdote, that narration of the mountain lion serves. A lot of you focused on the fact that they peered to each other through the gloom, and there was mutual curiosity, and this encounter, which would normally terrify somebody, actually fills him with more, quote, wonder than fear. That's great. Talk about all that stuff, but you also then have to say the whole point of this anecdote, and starting with this anecdote just automatically proves that his attitude towards all of nature is one that mystifies him, fills him with wonder, awe, respect, love. And so that's the point of that anecdote, and that's the effect that the anecdote has. Some of you also then lumped the first paragraph with the second paragraph, which is totally fine, but kind of missed some features of that, like the listing of the animal features of the javelina, the comparison between javelinas to humans as being omnivorous but equally playful. And that also shows his tone. Okay, so it's fine to choose the first part of the text, but you have to be comprehensive, and you have to know that it's not just about the mountain lion. It's the mountain lion as a story, an anecdote, a narrative that serves his larger attitude towards all of nature. Okay. I have a slide on here of some thesis statements that do a little bit too much and end up being confusing. You can read those, but I don't want you to get any bad ideas. So it's more just to show you that you're not alone if you didn't score the thesis point. This slide has some really strong introductions and thesis statements from students in all of our classes. So I have 2 classes, and that means four total cohorts. So I picked a couple of my favorites, so hopefully one of yours is one of them. I think this top one, I can't remember who does it. I'm sorry if you're watching this and it's not you, and I'm not, putting you on blast, but this is one of my favorite. I'm going to read it to you. When I see a mountain lion, I would feel fear incredibly more than I sense wonder. That's not what Edward Abbey did, though. He had traveled to Aravaipa Canyon in New Mexico, where he encountered wildlife and the beauty of nature. As he wrote an essay about his experience, he uses multiple rhetorical strategies to convey his positive and grateful attitude towards nature, as he sees it as a beautiful chance for redemption. Just nailed it, okay? I might add the fact that it came from the book Down the River, written in 1982. That's just a minor detail and doesn't affect your thesis point, so good job. Okay, some strategies that are present. This is not a full list. Obviously, the anecdote, or you could say a narrative of a past event, okay? Comparing the Javelinas to humans is a good one, and there's some listing going on. A lot of you probably avoided the middle section because of this one, but it's a really easy strategy to talk about. He alludes to or provides an allusion for Henry David Thoreau, who also spent time in his writing and adult life just in the woods, enjoying and experiencing nature. So he compares his existence to that of Thoreau, which I think is really important. The middle section of the text has the word we to start each paragraph, so there almost creates a sense of a collective unity of humans and how we should all appreciate nature and let it fill us with awe. We assume that he's traveling with someone who's unnamed, but the we kind of made me feel like I was part of it too, and that I should respect and love nature the way that he does. Okay, some of you focused on the last part of the text. There's two main things he does here, okay? First of all, he provides a quote for R. Buckminster Fuller, and the quote that Fuller provides is that the world is big, but it is comprehensible. We can comprehend it. He actually refutes that and disagrees with it. He says, look, I get what he's trying to say, but we will never know all of nature, and that is what fills me with wonder and makes it possible to, survive the urban days. He can't get enough of nature, and that alone is what makes nature so spiritual to him and so redemptive. The last sentence, the short sentence at the end, says, therein lies our redemption. So he finds redemption through nature and not being able to quantify or qualify it, unlike R. Buckminster Fuller might believe. He also provides a paradox where he says the very existence of existence is the acknowledgement that, it's unknown. It's not a problem. It's a mystery. There's a paradox in there. If you wrote about that and didn't quite nail that, I would have written that on your Google Doc or on your hard copy, that you might want to mention the paradox that exists in that last part. Okay, so there's a lot more going on than maybe you may have gotten on first glance. Okay, even more than this list. This is just a short list. This is just to kind of get you thinking a little bit. All right. So using the Google Doc comments that I made, or the comments I made on your hard copy, feel free to rewrite. Email it to me within a week, or tell me that you did it. You can take a picture of it like we talked about in class and send it to me. But just know that it's your first one. I'm not expecting you to be perfect. You can always revise things, and just because you may have gotten a C or a D on one of the categories doesn't mean that you can't then get an A with a couple of quick fixes, okay? I was really impressed that you guys did so well, given the amount of time I gave you, and it's the first time you've done a writing it like this. So thank you, and then thank you for engaging in the process and being okay with not being perfect immediately. That's a skill that will carry you for a long time. The whole idea of it is that then you use your first performance to set goals and improve in future experiences. Okay, so good luck, and I will see you next week, and thanks for a great class this morning.